The office was so quiet that Tuesday you could hear a pen drop. It was one of those mornings where the air felt too still, like something was about to happen but hadn't yet. I was at my desk, checking plane ticket prices for a customer. A cheap flight to Chicago. That was all I was supposed to be thinking about. But then I heard his voice. Mr. Green's office door was half open. He was on the phone. At first, I didn't pay attention. He always made calls in their clients, hotel managers, airline reps. But then I heard him laugh softly and say, "She's amazing. She's perfect. I really like her." My fingers froze on the keyboard. I don't know why my heart started beating faster. Maybe because Mr. Green wasn't the kind of man who used words like perfect every day. He was polite, professional, a thank you and good morning type of guy. And now he was in there, saying things that sounded personal. I sat there, staring at my computer screen, pretending to type, but my mind was racing. Who was he talking about? There were only 3 women in the office that day, me, Susan from accounts, and Claire, the receptionist. Susan was married. Claire was barely 19. I was 25, single, and I couldn't help wondering, was he talking about me? I told myself I was imagining things. People talk. Words don't always mean what we think they mean. But then he said it again. No, really? She's incredible, hardworking, beautiful too. Beautiful. I swear my whole body went warm. I felt guilty for even listening, but the words had already slipped into my ears, and there was no unhearing them. That's when I realized I didn't actually know much about Mr. Green. He was my boss. Kind, respectful, a man who liked black coffee and always took his lunch at 1:00 p.m. A man who never raised his voice, even when a customer yelled at us over flight cancellations. But outside of work, I knew nothing. Did he have someone in his life? Was he lonely? Was this about me, or was I just flattering myself? I thought about the small things. How he always smiled when I brought him paperwork. How he once told me I had a good head for details. How he remembered my birthday last month when even my college friends forgot. Little things that didn't mean much until now. Now they all felt like clues in some mystery I wasn't ready to solve. I glanced toward his door. He was laughing softly, still on the phone. The sunlight hit his desk through the blinds, cutting his face into stripes of light and shadow. He looked younger somehow, not like a boss, more like a man with a secret. My chest felt tight. I didn't even know what I wanted the answer to be. Then he lowered his voice, almost a whisper. "I just don't know if she feels the same way," he said. My heart skipped. That was it, the moment. Because if he was talking about me, then this wasn't just admiration. It was something bigger. I didn't hear the rest of the call. Someone came in with a delivery, and I had to sign for it, my hands shaking as I scribbled my name. By the time I looked back at his office, the door was closed. For the rest of the morning, I couldn't focus. I sent the wrong email to the wrong client. I forgot to attach tickets. I even typed love instead of luggage once. I kept wondering, what if he was talking about me? And if he was, what was I supposed to do about it? By lunch, I had decided one thing. I needed to know the truth. But I didn't know how to ask without sounding crazy. So I waited. And as the hours ticked by, my mind started spinning stories. Some where he confessed everything. Some where I laughed it off. Some where it all went wrong. The day dragged on until finally, just before closing time, he stepped out of his office. "Anna," he said, his voice calm as ever, "could you stay for a few minutes after work? I need to talk to you." And that was the moment my stomach dropped. Because I had a feeling this wasn't about flights or hotels. This was about that phone call. I swear, I forgot how to breathe for a second. "Sure," I managed to say, though my voice sounded strange to me, thin and tight. He gave me a small smile. just his usual polite smile, and went back to his office. For the next 30 minutes, I couldn't focus on a single thing. My heart pounded the entire time as I finished my tasks, double-checking every detail, like I could somehow distract myself from what was coming. When the clock hit 5, the office started to empty. Claire waved goodbye. Susan wished me a good night. One by one, the sounds faded, the hum of the copier, the click of keyboards, the shuffle of feet, and then it was just me, alone at my desk, and Mr. Green in his office. "Anna?" His voice carried softly. "Yes," I said, standing quickly, brushing invisible dust from my skirt like that could make me feel less nervous. "Come in, please." I walked into his office, and it felt different somehow. Maybe because the blinds were drawn now, the room dimmer, quieter. He gestured to the chair across from his desk. "Close the door," he said gently. I did, and then I sat, folding my hands in my lap to keep them from shaking. For a moment, he didn't speak. He just looked at me, not in a creepy way, just thoughtful, like he was trying to find the right words. Finally, he sighed. "Anna," he began, "I want to say something, and I don't want you to feel uncomfortable. If you do, tell me, and I'll stop." "Okay?" I nodded, though my throat was dry. He leaned forward slightly, resting his elbows on the desk. "You've been working here for 2 years now," he said. "You're good at what you do, reliable, smart. Honestly, you keep this place running. And I've come to admire that." "Admire you?" I swallowed hard. My pulse was so loud in my ears, I almost didn't hear the rest. "I didn't mean for this to happen," he continued, his voice soft but steady. "I told myself you were just my employee. That was it. But somewhere along the way, I started looking forward to seeing you every morning, hearing your laugh, even just sharing coffee breaks. And I don't want to hide that anymore." I froze, every muscle in my body tense. This was real. It wasn't my imagination. It wasn't office gossip or silly daydreams. It was happening. "I'm not asking for anything," he said quickly, like he didn't want me to panic. "I just thought you deserved the truth. You mean more to me than just someone who works here. And if you don't feel the same way, that's okay. Nothing has to change. I couldn't keep pretending anymore." His eyes were steady, searching mine for some sign. 1,000 thoughts crashed into me at once. He was my boss. This job was my steady income, my safety net in an expensive city. But also, he was kind, patient, the kind of man who remembered birthdays and thanked you for staying late. The kind of man who made you feel seen. And maybe, if I was honest with myself, there had always been a part of me that liked him back. But liking someone and stepping into something like this, they weren't the same thing. I took a breath, steadying my voice. "Mr. Green," I started, then stopped. Saying his name felt too formal, too distant. "David," I tried again, and his eyes softened just a little. I don't know what to say. This is a lot." He nodded. "I understand. I didn't expect an answer right now. I just wanted you to know how I feel." Silence stretched between us, not heavy, but charged. I looked down at my hands, twisting my fingers together. "I guess I need time," I whispered. "Of course," he said, his tone gentle. "Take all the time you need. Nothing changes unless you want it to." That small sentence eased some of the tension in my chest. I left his office that evening in a daze. The city felt different on my walk home. The noise of traffic, the hum of people, even the orange glow of the streetlights, all of it seemed muted, like I was underwater. I replayed his words over and over. "I've come to admire that. Admire you. I started looking forward to seeing you every morning. I should have felt scared, maybe even angry. But instead, there was this strange, quiet warmth in my chest. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, my phone clutched in my hand. What if saying yes ruined everything? What if saying no left me with a regret I'd carry forever? I didn't sleep much. I just kept hearing his voice, soft, steady, honest. And somewhere deep down, I knew one thing. Nothing about my life was ever going to be the same. The next morning, I woke up with my stomach in knots. I'd barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard his voice again. I just couldn't keep pretending anymore. I kept thinking, what do I even want? At work, I tried to act normal. Smile at Claire. Say good morning to Susan. Sort through emails like nothing had changed. But everything had changed. When Mr. Green David walked in, I could feel my heartbeat in my throat. He gave me a polite nod, nothing more, like he'd promised. Nothing would change unless I wanted it to. And somehow, that made me want to cry, because it wasn't pressure, it was respect. The day passed in a blur. But after lunch, I found myself standing outside his office door, clutching a stack of papers I didn't even need to deliver. I took a breath and knocked. "Come in," he said. When I stepped in, he looked up from his laptop. His expression was calm, but there was something in his eyes, something careful, like he didn't want to scare me away. "Do you have a minute?" I asked. "Of course," he said, closing his laptop gently. "What's on your mind?" I sat down, my palms damp, my thoughts racing. "I thought a lot about what you said," I began. My voice trembled, but I didn't stop. "And I don't know what this could be, or where it would go. But I know that I like you, David. I always have." I just didn't let myself think about it. For a second, he just stared at me. And then, slowly, a small, soft smile spread across his face. "Thank you for telling me," he said quietly. "That means more than you know." We didn't make any big promises that day, no secret plans, no dramatic declarations, just an agreement. We'd take it slow, be careful, be honest. It was simple, and it felt right. The weeks that followed were strange in their own way. Little changes at first, longer coffee breaks, quiet smiles across the office, a text on a Saturday morning that just said, "Hope you're having a good day." For a while, it was our little secret, and I was happy. But secrets don't stay secret forever. One Thursday, Susan caught me smiling at my phone, and her eyebrows shot up. "Who's got you grinning like that?" she teased. I laughed it off, but a knot formed in my stomach, because I knew sooner or later people would notice. And when they did, there'd be questions, whispers, maybe even judgment. One evening, I sat across from David at a small diner 2 blocks from the office. The place smelled like coffee and grilled cheese, the kind of place nobody from work ever went. "I'm scared," I admitted quietly. "What if this ruins everything? What if people think I only got this job because of you?" He reached across the table, not to hold my hand too public, but just enough that his fingers brushed mine. "Anna," he said, "I don't care what people think. I care about us. And if at any point you feel like this isn't right, we stop. No questions, no anger. You come first." The way he said it steady sure made my chest ache. A month later, the truth came out. I don't even know how. Maybe someone saw us at the diner. Maybe it was just the way we looked at each other. The whispers started. I heard my name in the break room, in the hallway, in voices that went quiet when I walked by. It hurt, but through it all, David stayed the same, respectful, calm, supportive. One afternoon, after a particularly hard day, I walked into his office and shut the door. "I can't do this," I said, tears stinging my eyes. "I can't handle the gossip, the looks." He stood, walked around his desk, and stopped in front of me. "Anna," he said softly, "we don't have to prove anything to anyone. What matters is what we have." And I won't let anyone make you feel small for that. Something in his voice, gentle but firm, made me believe him. It's been a year now, and no, it hasn't always been easy. There were tough conversations, awkward moments, even days when I wondered if it was worth it. But then I'd come into work, see his smile, and remember why I chose this. Because sometimes life gives you something you never saw coming. And if you're brave enough to let it, it can change everything. Looking back, I think about that quiet Tuesday morning when I overheard his voice through a half-open door. She's amazing. She's perfect. I really like her. I didn't know it then, but that was the day my life took a turn. I never expected one that, even now, I wouldn't trade for anything. Friends, if this story touched you, please like, comment, and share it. Stay with me for the next new story.